Blessed is the fruit of your womb. We hear those words many times. Some of us repeat them many times in a day, especially in the Hail Mary or in the Rosary. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with you. Blessed are you among women, and blessed is the fruit of your womb. But do we ever stop to think about what we are really saying? Many times we say the words, or at least I do, and I don't really contemplate what they mean. In the hallway by the bathrooms behind the altar here, we have a wonderful painting of the pregnant Mary that brings to mind several images for me of what it might have been like at that time. In the picture, there are stars that are shining through the windows, and I think of that silent night long ago and the peacefulness of that setting. I can picture it because it's one of my favorite things to do, just to go outside in a cold, starry night like a couple of nights ago and look up at the heavens and just enjoy the majesty and awe of creation. How peaceful that is, and how peaceful that setting must have been some 2,000 years ago. I notice in the painting that it's very simple where Mary is living. She's on a floor in a room without any furniture, nothing in it at all. And I think of the humble beginnings of such a blessed event that was to transform the world, the birth of Jesus. How awesome and joyful that event is in such humble beginnings. There's a halo around Mary's head, indicating how blessed she was and how full of grace. When you meet someone who is holy and a good person, there seems to be a light that surrounds them. And I think of Mother Teresa or Pope John Paul II and the light that seemed to surround them. I think the same is true of people in our own lives who are good people. You want to be around them because they emanate joy, and that draws you to them. And Mary, full of grace, was most definitely surrounded by light, the love that emanates from her love of God, for her love for her child who is about to be born. And in the painting, it's interesting because there's a light that sort of emanates around Mary's stomach. The light of Jesus just cannot be contained, even though he is not born yet. In today's gospel, John the Baptist literally leapt for joy in Elizabeth's womb when Mary approached. There was a lifelong bond that Jesus and his cousin John had that was formed even before either of them were born. And I can relate to how you can communicate with an unborn child. A few years ago when my daughter-in-law was pregnant, my son would come home from work and talk to the baby in my daughter-in-law's belly. Whenever she did that, Eric would leap for joy and start moving around. That joy that they had was awesome, especially when he was born. So much more the joy of Mary must have been when she bore her son, the Savior of the world. The most significant thing in the painting, I think, though, is that Mary was deep in contemplation. She was meditating on the significance of who she was bearing. Blessed is the fruit of your womb. The thoughts that must have been going through her mind. She was probably talking to Jesus in her womb. Why me, God? I'm sure she must have felt blessed and honored. She must have been thinking about the hope and joy that her son Jesus would bring to the world. Well, might her heart be filled with a wondering a radiant joy at so great a privilege. But she was probably also thinking about the sorrows that she and her son might endure. One day, her very blessedness would be a sword that would pierce her heart. A day when she would see her son hanging on a cross. And isn't that a paradox of blessedness? That it confers on a person, one at the same time, the greatest joy, and yet the greatest task in all the world. To be chosen by God so often means a crown of joy and a cross of sorrow. Mary had much to contemplate to the coming birth of her son and the words spoken to her by her cousin Elizabeth. Blessed are you who believed that was spoken to you by the Lord would be fulfilled. So must we contemplate what the coming of Jesus means to us.